One of the statements I hear the most from autistic adults is, "I just wish I knew the rules. I felt this way as well." For many of us, social interactions can feel like playing a game that we don't know the rules to. Some people refer to these rules as social secrets, because they feel like that, secrets to which we don't have access. The purpose of this video is to explore general workplace social rules, soft skills, and etiquette that others will expect us to have. These are generally not written down as workplace policies because often these skills come naturally to non-autistic people who don't have to think twice about their implementation. Before we dive in, I want to state a disclaimer. As an autistic person advocate, I don't like talking about social skills. We come from a history of having people incorrectly think that we lack empathy and compassion. This is because we communicate differently, even though autistic people can actually be quite adept at communicating with each other. Many autistic people have had neurotypical skills forced upon them through unethical means. You have social skills, they are not deficient. We might talk about certain skills to build a bigger library to use in different situations as we encounter more people, especially people with different experiences and coming from different cultures than ourselves. As we build on new skills, this allows us to expand on the empathy that we already have, and it makes us more understanding of other people who are not like us. I am not asking you to practice and memorize these skills perfectly in order to pass as a neurotypical person. That would be asking you to mask your autism, and that would be wrong. In an ideal workplace, our ways of communicating would be understood and accepted, even if they are different. However, I do want you to know what common unwritten workplace rules are, so you can navigate them in a way that feels authentic. Many of these are about respecting other people's time, space, and acting in a way that protects yourself at work. Here are some general guidelines. These are common unwritten rules that generally exist in every workplace. They are often called soft skills, which are skills that you use to work with other people. Be on time. This actually means being a few minutes early so you can get settled and start doing job-related tasks at your start time. For example, if you're scheduled to start at 9 a.m., you might want to arrive at 8:52 a.m. so you can put your personal belongings away, get settled, and then start your tasks at 9 o'clock. Be positive and express gratitude for small things. It's better to be known as being over-enthusiastic than being a grouch. If you have an issue or a complaint to make, go through the formal process. There are usually formal written rules for this. Don't gossip. This is a rule that many people will break, but it's always better to speak positively about other people you work with. Again, if there are issues or concerns, use the formal conflict resolution process that most workplaces have in place. Ask if your job has a certain dress code policy. You can also look around and notice what other colleagues are wearing. Generally, if you are unsure for your first day of work, aim for overdressing rather than being too casual. Some autistic people have poor proprioception. That is, we might not understand where our bodies are in relation to other people and might unknowingly make the other person feel uncomfortable. Give yourself mental reminders to check in on where you are in space relative to other people, especially if you're approaching them to talk. Hard and soft rules. If your workplace does have written rules, consider whether these are hard or soft rules. Hard rules are ones that are not to be broken, that every employee seems to follow, and usually have to do with safety. Soft rules are ones that other people do tend to break quite often, so they're not really rules. It's okay to ask about both types, but in general, if someone is breaking a soft rule, it's okay to let it pass and not call them out. Let someone know if you are leaving the general space where you usually work. For example, to use the washroom or to complete another task. This avoids any confusion about where you might be. If someone is asking a question and you are not sure how to respond or need more time to process the answer, you can let them know. I hear you, let me think about this for a moment. Usually people expect a swift response, so if you need this time, you can ask for it to let them know you've heard them. People might comment on tone of voice. As autistic people, we tend to communicate with our words and not our tone. However, neurotypical people tend to look for hidden meanings behind facial expressions and tone of voice, and assume that everyone who is able to speak knows what their voices are doing and can control the sounds they make with ease. If you can practice facial expressions and tones, consider doing this. If not, it's okay as well to let people know I communicate with my words and not my tone. Here are some practices that make others feel respected. Greet people when you arrive and let them know when you are leaving. This can be a simple smile or wave. It doesn't need to be a formal spoken greeting. As much as you can, use other people's names when speaking to them at least once in a conversation. If you hear your name being called, Even if it isn't accompanied by a question or more information, look up. Neurotypical people tend to rely on visual signals as a sign that you are listening. If someone is working and doesn't look up as you approach, try not to interrupt them unless you have specifically set up that meeting time. People will expect you to look at them when they are speaking. You don't have to look into their eyes. It can be anywhere in the general facial area. If you can, try to adjust your gaze every few seconds so you are not staring at the other person. If it is too much of a challenge to think about what your eyes are doing and participate in the conversation at the same time, consider letting someone know so others can adjust their expectations. Here are some rules about lunchroom etiquette. If your workplace has a shared kitchen area, don't use mugs that aren't yours unless you are told that they are for common use. Always wash and put them away when you are done. Don't eat any food that you did not bring unless explicitly told that you can. If someone brings a treat to share, only take one helping until everyone has had a chance to take some. Clean up after yourself by wiping down surfaces and cleaning or putting away any dishes you may have used. Here are some tips for workplace emails. Don't put the recipient's email in until you are ready to send it. This helps avoid accidental sends before your message is complete. If you're replying to an email to one specific person, double and triple check that you have not hit reply all. Make sure the subject line reflects the content of the email. Check for spelling and grammar. Follow the rules of capitalization. Your email should read more like an essay and less like a text to a friend. Don't send multiple emails to one person at a time, especially if they can be condensed into one email. You might want to take some time to read through and make sure your email contains everything you want to communicate. Try to limit the use of exclamation marks to one per paragraph. Close your email with a note of appreciation like thanks or best wishes. Next, we're going to talk about workplace hierarchies. Workplaces often have hierarchies, which are a way of delegating management responsibilities. Sometimes this is called the chain of command. This can be confusing to navigate as an autistic person because we tend to view and treat everyone as equals and interact with everyone in the same manner. Even if these interactions are respectful and well-intentioned, sometimes it can come across as being rude, disrespectful, and insubordinate if we are speaking with the wrong person. For example, if you had a question about everyday work procedures and you skipped over your supervisor and talked to higher management first, it might be considered insubordination. Even if your question was valid and would have improved productivity or work quality, that's not what matters in most companies. What matters most is that the social hierarchy is being followed. This can seem counterintuitive to our ways of communicating, our values for productivity, and our sense of justice, but it is a reality that unfortunately exists in most workplaces. Here are some tips on navigating workplace hierarchies. You can ask, who can I direct my questions to? Ask if there is an organizational chart. Know who your supervisor is and always ask them first. Ask if there are conflict resolution policies. These usually provide guidelines on what the chain of command is. Next, we'll talk about asking questions. I'm a strong believer in that there is no such thing as a stupid question. Questions are a way of showing interest, gaining deeper understanding, and ensuring total comprehension. However, many of us get into trouble for asking too many questions, especially why. The reason for this is that it's often viewed as a challenge to authority or a threat to the workplace hierarchy. It is a breakdown in communication. While we are genuinely seeking to gain understanding of how something works, often what autistic people hear is, why should I do this? Why should I care? Who are you to tell me what to do? We often don't think about social hierarchies as much as a neurotypical person might, because our importance is placed more on the quest for information. This is an example of a workplace rule that I believe isn't our responsibility alone to fix. If you come across resistance when asking questions, it can help to offer the reason why we are asking. For example, why are we taking attendance? I'd like to know so I can make sense of this procedure in my mind and remember that it's an important task. There are some topics to avoid talking about at work. Here are a few to avoid. Talking about religion, politics, or money. Talking about someone's race, sexual orientation, disability, or appearance. If someone brings it up about themselves, it's okay to acknowledge this and engage as a listener. It's also okay to talk about your own differences, but keep in mind that a workplace isn't always the safest place to share. The next section is, what do people mean when they refer to a good team player? Sometimes workplaces tell you they want good team players without expanding on what this means. Here are some attributes that people appreciate in work colleagues and what each one means. They are reliable. This means they will keep promises and do what they say. They are good communicators. They are not afraid of expressing their thoughts directly and honestly. They will speak up if any problems come up. They are good listeners. They remember details about past conversations. Some may look for body language in this area, looking at a person's face periodically as they are speaking, nodding, and listening without arguing or debating every point. They are engaged. They attend team meetings and offer insights on new ideas based on their knowledge and experience. They are cooperative. They work actively with others to get the job done. On a final note, it can feel overwhelming to think about all of these unwritten rules and social norms that are natural to non-autistic people, that we might have to take notes on and remember manually. It's okay to only pick a few that you feel you can authentically try. It's okay to ask for help. I want to repeat that you already have social skills and that there is nothing wrong with autistic communication. I want to end by talking about the double empathy problem. This theory suggests that people with different experiences of the world, such as autistic and non-autistic individuals, may have difficulty empathizing with one another. Studies done to test this theory have found that autistic individuals are quite good at communicating with, understanding, empathizing with, and developing a high level of rapport with other autistic individuals. This contradicts the idea that we lack social skills. We might have difficulty understanding the social norms that have been set up for holistic interpretations of the world, but we are not deficient in soft skills. It's still important that we put in the work to make others feel safe and respected in a common workplace, but it's okay to expect others to meet us halfway in understanding our intentions and communication styles. Many workplaces are just starting to learn about inclusion and the acceptance of diverse communication. It's no longer up to us alone to bridge the gap in communication breakdowns.